Welcome back, everybody. Hellraiser 2022. What are my thoughts on it? Is it as good as the original Hellraisers? Is it worth your time? All these questions will be answered in today's video as we review Hulu's 2022 release of Hellraiser. I got my hands on the video. I went into the movie completely blind. I didn't see a single trailer. I didn't watch anybody's early reviews because we all get burnt in the past, and because I do movie reviews, I try to go into the movies completely blind, just like I did with the Lord of the Rings and the She-Hulk videos. So let's get into it. So I'm wearing the glasses, but I didn't get much sleep last night. 4.5 hours of sleep, definitely not enough, and it's showing. So yep, that's generally why I wear the sunglasses in the videos. Not to look cool, of course, because I definitely am not cool. So I'm a big fan of the original Hellraiser franchise. I really like the first, second, and third movies. The fourth, I'm pretty sure I liked the fourth because I keep thinking back on it. So the first four movies were great. Anything after the fourth, for sure though, completely subpar compared to the first four. Preface: I am not a movie critic. I just like to watch movies and review them based on my take, my point of views, unfiltered by other people's input, right? And that's how it should always be. So I made a community post yesterday and I got some reactions to it both on Twitter and as well as the community post. I know I came off a little bit strong in my community post. I was very, very critical of the movie. I still stand by whatever I wrote on my community post. I'm going to start off with what I enjoyed about the movie. So I do think it is a movie that's very much worth your watch. If you're a casual viewer, you will definitely enjoy this movie. I would say it is I'm going to say it's the fourth best Hellraiser movie. Visually, the cinematography, especially, very, very well done. You could tell the guy that was behind the camera knew what he was doing and what he wanted to shoot for. So cinematography, great. Originally, I didn't like the main actress in the movie, but the more I watched, the more I actually started liking her. After the first half hour, after she has her breakdowns and has her fits and whatever, I very much liked the actress, and I found she did a great job. Honestly, everybody in the movie, from the Cenobites to the main cast, the humans, all of them were great at the roles they were given. I can't say anything bad about anybody. They all, like, I can't think of a single moment where I was like, oh, this is horrible acting. Nope, did a great job with their roles. So I'm just gonna get this part out of the way. So it is a mainstream type of movie, so you are going to have your obligatory check boxes for some woke stuff. I'm not going to talk about that stuff because honestly it didn't hinder the movie in any way. It was just there. So the video review will go into spoiler territory. I'm going to do my best to keep in mind when to warn you guys about the spoiler, especially the end movie spoilers. This movie very much deals with addiction and traumas and things like this, but more addiction. So the main actress of the movie, she's a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. So she was a pill popper, and she's dating a guy that doesn't really help her out too much, especially with the drinking part. As a casual horror movie, I give the Hellraiser 2022 Hulu release a 7 out of 10. So now I'm going to start talking about the things of the movie that didn't do it for me. So again, this is the things that didn't do it for me. Not for you, but for me. This is what I took away from the movie. So one of the things that I didn't like the most about the movie, and this will carry true for anything I watch, TV shows, movies, things like this, predictability. The movie was from start to finish extremely predictable. I was able to predict what's going to happen next, up until the ending of the movie, and I was never wrong. So there is a scene where the girl is researching with her boyfriend the history of, the box, who had it last and whatever. So she discovers that it belonged to a very, very wealthy man. So there's a part where they're finishing up the scene of the internet web search, and it finishes off with presumed dead. Especially in any horror movie, the moment you see the words presumed dead, that's your dead giveaway that that character or whoever they're researching is not dead, and they will come back in the movie. The predictability of everything that was happening throughout the movie, that's one thing that very much took me out of the movie. The plot, I find the plot goes by very, very on a very, very steady pace. The Cenobites in the original Hellraiser movie, especially the first 4, apart from a few of the Cenobites in the Hellraiser 3, like the guy with the CDs in his head, the living jukebox. So in this movie, like in the original movies, they looked very BDSM, very goth and things like this, and it actually very much suited the characters, especially in the time. So I really liked the original Cenobite designs throughout. I think like all of them, apart from one of them, did a great design for the Cenobites. This movie is kind of in between, so they do have their own look. The Cenobites in this movie do have their own look. They can look creepy and disturbing, and they have a unique aesthetic to them. But there was something I didn't like, and I couldn't pinpoint what it was I didn't like about the design of these Cenobites until one of the Cenobites reminded me of Silent Hill Revelations.
I know they don't look alike, but there is something in the aesthetic that reminds me of Silent Hill Revelations. Then, there was this, the flesh turbine. Very out of place.
If you guys remember that horrible, horrible sequel to the Silent Hill movie, it started very much reminding me of, especially the look. And then I started realizing that we had too much exposure to the Cenobites. They were present throughout a good percentage of the movie, and usually you would see them at least from head to torso, and then also you would see quite a bit from head to toe. And it wasn't just the fact that you would see them from top to bottom, but they were also basked in a lot of light. So yes, original Hellraiser did do that as well, but their outfits were not as intricate as these ones in the new Hellraiser, and the outfits were very, very detailed and very, very well done. Whereas something about these Cenobites, even though it's more modern, the budget was higher. I don't know what it is, but they just looked cheap compared to the original Cenobites. I don't know what it is. It could be the overexposure, it could be the lighting, it could be all that mixed together. But I didn't find the Cenobites scary they were imposing, but they weren't intimidating. Which brings me to the female Cenobite. Her design, again, really cool. But because we saw every aspect of her, of the costume, it took away from her intimidation. So you have, okay, I'm going to take my glasses off for this part. So in the original Hellraiser, so you had the Doug Bradley Pinhead. He had the deadpan eyes, and delivering all of his lines in a completely flattened monotone. Oh, we have such delights to show you. Delivering all his lines like this.
We have such sights to show you.
And that was cool. Like it really added to the intimidation factor that you wanted Pinhead to have. Whereas this new Cenobite, this Hell Priestess, she always had, for some reason, at least it's what I saw, she always had this smile in her eye.
Oh yes, we have such sights to show you.
So it took away from the intimidation. Like there's a way that you can do a smile. Like you have Negan, like with his Negan smile that is able to convey a sense of dread and complete intimidation when he smiles at you, that other shows and movies have tried to replicate Negan, but nobody could ever replicate Negan. So the fact that she always had some sort of coyness behind her look, like there was a few times where she dropped the smile and she didn't have the smile. Those parts, chef's kiss, those parts were great. She could sell the intimidation factor, but too much, she had too much smile. Like, you know that George Clooney smile behind Batman that didn't work whatsoever? Kind of same dynamic.
Do you see now what I mean by the new Cenobites look goofy and cheap compared to the original aesthetic? This is how she would look in a real setting in natural light. Not scary.
So what I liked about the movie, especially towards the end, is that you realize that these Cenobites, they have nothing of value to give to you. Their value is death and pain. So even though I forget what the guy's name is, the main protagonist that comes back at the end of the movie, this is light spoiler.
End movie spoiler. If you leave, thank you for watching and please like and subscribe for more videos.
So when he summoned the Leviathan and Leviathan asked what he wanted, his thing was he wanted pleasure, sensation. Sensation is open to interpretation. Pain is a sensation. So what they did to him was they cut open his chest and placed this configuration that was from the front protruding and protruding out of his back. And what that thing was designed to do was every so often it would adjust itself to pull a string or a couple strings that would give him a new sensation, a new source of pain. So no matter what was happening, there was no way that he could become accustomed to any of the sensations, because it was always something new and it was always a torture.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Every night, I can feel my leg and my arm, even my fingers. The body I've lost. The comrades I've lost won't stop hurting. It's like they're all still there. You feel it too, don't you? I'm gonna make them give back our past.
So I thought that part was cool. So when he's being confronted by the Hell Priestess, and she asks him what she told him that whatever is gifted cannot be returned. And she has some sort of epiphany where she's like, okay, wait a second. So we cannot rescind the gift that we gave you, but we can exchange it. And then she reasons everything that he's been doing was not for pleasure, was not for sensation, but it was for power. So she ruled what you actually wanted was not sensation, but power. So with this, we can give you the trade for sensation instead of power. So he agrees to it. And by the way, the actor they chose, great for the role. There's a real sense of Vincent Price to his acting, especially the way he delivers his lines and he speaks. Very, very well done, like casting him for that role. But yeah, like I said in the beginning, I knew he was going to come back. The ending is a little bit more spoilers. So the girl's boyfriend is a piece of crap. He's a real piece of shit. So he was actually working with the main antagonist from the beginning to get the girl to open up at the box. So that's why she got involved in the story. So it seems like they were struggling. They didn't know what they were going to do with the couple. So she had to make a choice. She had to make a sacrifice. So of course, she chooses him because he's the all of a sudden revealed to be a villain. So they're playing around with the box. Well, they're fighting around with the box to wrestle it from her. And of course, they do the typical where they get into like a hug struggle, and then of course it's revealed as they back away that he was the one that got stabbed. I'm not a big fan of the box design of this one. I didn't really like it. A lot of people liked it, but I didn't really like it. So the main antagonist, the bad guy of the movie, agrees to trade the box, well, his configuration, for power. So the Hell Priestess, I think she snapped her fingers or whatever, and then all the gears of the mechanism started to fall apart and drop from the guy, and then he starts getting healed, and then finally he has a few minutes of respite. No more pain, thank God. And then we have the Leviathan that appears and impales him with the massive chain and brings him up. I think the movie was just all right. They're obviously setting it up for sequels, for more Hellraiser movies. I'm looking forward to them. I'm going to watch them, as long as they don't start attacking the fans. So just like in the original Hellraiser, I think it was in Hellraiser 2, where they take Chouinard up into the Leviathan and he becomes the new Leviathan. I don't think that he would... I think it's pretty much the same thing that was happening with this guy. He wasn't just being transformed into a Cenobite. They took him into the Leviathan, and I think what they were going to be using him for, because he's obviously not going to replace Leviathan, but I think what they're going to do, since he chose power, and we know how manipulative the Cenobites are with their wording, and how not everything means what we think it means. So instead of him being a source of, being powerful, I think they're going to be using him as a source of power. So he's going to be resource. So they harvested him, turned him into a Cenobite, and he was on some sort of weird like cross thing, which obviously is not designed for him to be able to move. So that's why I think my prediction for the next movies is that he is going to be used as a power source for the Leviathan, because there's no way the guy's going to be able to move around freely on a cross, because it was very much a cross. Check it out. Look at the picture, right? So anyways, this is what I took from the movie. I do give it a 7 out of 10. Hopefully the next movies will not be as predictable as this. If the girl comes back in the next movies, just like they did with the original Hellraisers, I think she will do a great job again. Movie, very predictable. Hide the Cenobites more. Don't overexpose them, especially if they're supposed to be intimidating. The other thing I forgot to say, like regarding the Cenobites, we had too many Cenobites. Like 3 would have been more than enough. The Hell Priestess and 2 others would have been more than enough for the movie. But there was a scene towards the middle end where you saw the Hell Priestess, and I think there was like another 3 or 4 Cenobites with her. One Cenobite that I did like was the one with the big black eyes. That one I found was the creepiest looking, but at the same time it was too goofy looking. But it was one of my favorite Cenobites in the movie. So what did you guys think of the movie? Did you guys watch it? What do you guys think of my review? I tried to be as unbiased as I could. So let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for giving me a few minutes of your time. Like, subscribe. Happy Halloween. Sugar Vega out.